Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Saltwater Gaming. And I am so very sorry for everything that is about to come out of my mouth. A spoiler warning is in effect for the entirety of this episode, um, because it is going over something that I hold very near and dear to my heart in terms of gaming franchises. Uh, So, y'all are in for a bit of a ride and a bit of a rant, and I do apologize for that beforehand. I am Ellison Smith, again, your host, and today we will be discussing the wonderful, wonderful trials and tribulations of the Kingdom Hearts franchise. For those of you that don't know what I'm talking about, back in the early 2000s, 2002 to be specific, uh, Square Enix, who is the parent company of the Final Fantasy franchise, which is one of the big Japanese RPGs that has now come over and become a pop culture phenomenon and cornerstone for gaming. Square Enix decided to have a night of heavy drinking with Disney Interactive, the powerhouse company that we all know and love, and the thing that owns essentially three-quarters of the major pop culture uh, foundry stones. They own Star Wars, Marvel, and everything involving their wonderful mascot, Mouse. Um, Square Enix and Disney Interactive in 2002 decided to have a casual drinking night, and they got a little bit too drunk. And they had this love child that they didn't know what to do with, so they just gave it to the masses to see what would happen. And that love child turned out to be an action RPG by the name of Kingdom Hearts. This game started a long standing tradition. It is the first game, in and of itself, starts off with this kid named Sora, and his world gets destroyed, and he's chasing after his quote unquote best friend, and his token female friend at the time, called his best friend's name was Riku, his female friend was Kairi. They were all connected by their hearts, and so his world gets destroyed. He gets transported into another town, and he runs into Donald Duck and Goofy, the wonderful Disney characters. And they go on all sorts of adventures. They visit different worlds. So essentially, they visit different aspects of the Disney franchise. They go to Alice in Wonderland, which isn't bad. They go to Tarzan's world, which makes you want to chuck your controller into the television. Back in 2002, this would have been your PlayStation 2 controller. Probably your DualShock thing that was still hooked up to it because we didn't know what wireless controllers were. It takes you all over the Disney universe. And it's a very heartwarming and game of talking about the power of love and your heart and the power of friendship and all this other kind of stuff. It's very much the definition of a feel-good movie, a feel-good game, and it's beloved by a lot of people who grew up in gaming around that time. It is one of my favorite games. So that came out in 2002, and then people were just like, you know what? Yeah, this was amazing. We love it. Let's keep going. So they make a second game, not an official sequel, but an additional game for handheld, so Game Boy Advance, called Chain of Memories, and that's like your standard card game. So you fight with cards, and it's intuitive and inventive and creative, and essentially it's a rehash of uh, Kingdom Hearts 1 with some additional stuff. Then they make Kingdom Hearts 2, the direct sequel, and they flush out everything that was wrong with Kingdom Hearts 1. They get a better control system. You get more of a backstory for Sora. You get your major enemies come back, and then you get another major enemy, and it all gets so freaking complicated from here. This franchise has a god-awful history of never giving you a direct sequel when you want it. The first two were very streamlined, because you get the first chapter, Kingdom Hearts 1, first and foremost. Chain of Memories was a little bit of a spin-off that still gave you a little bit of a story. That's just like your first handheld thing. That's not even a direct sequel. It's just a, hey, here's something you can play on your Game Boy Advance. We hope you like it. And we did. And we're just like, okay, yeah, this is cool. But when's the actual sequel come out? 2005, the actual sequel comes out, and we're all over it. So after that release, then the handheld wars that some of us remember began. So you had the PlayStation, the PSP, which is dead now. The Vita has essentially replaced that. Nobody buys a Vita anymore. That came out. Then we had the Nintendo DS replace the Game Boy Advance. And so Square Enix and Disney were just like, okay, well, let's do some handhelds for a little bit. So they mainly marketed additional story games to a handheld market. That did not go over so well. They still sold, and they still were, bought, but for the people who were just like, okay, well, I don't have a handheld, I just want this on console, they're just like, no, wait, it's coming, don't worry about it, it's coming. So, a couple years pass, and we get more additional handhelds. We get 358 over 2 days. We get Recoded, we get Kingdom Hearts Coded, which was a mobile game. They turned that into a handheld. We get Birth by Sleep. So it's essentially all these little prequel and tie-in titles stacking up for mobile games. And so at this point, it's like 2007, 2008, and we're just like, hey, so, where's 3? And they're just like, 3's still coming, it's okay. 2008 happens, it keeps going. We now get remastered editions, so high-definition editions, with a little bit of bonus content in each one, and we're just like, okay, so it looks all pretty now. That's nice, and for nostalgia, it's quite enjoyable. But where's 3? They did that for Kingdom Hearts 1. That became 1.5 Final Chapter Mix. They did that for 2. That became 2.5 Final Chapter Mix. And then all the way down to 2016, 2017. We finally get confirmation that 3 is coming. But first, we get high-definition remakes of everything that they've done so far and put on collections. So it's been like a decade plus at this point, and all of the fans are just kind of, they're either jumping ship or they're just kind of sitting. This is one of those franchises where you are so used to things being pushed back and just not happening that if you get confirmation that here's it, here's 3, here's Kingdom Hearts 3 finally coming, and we're just like, okay. And in the back of our mind, we're going to have to wait another 2 years for it. Because we're so used to it at this point. It's like an abusive relationship that we can't stop. And it's just, it's terrible. But we're still here, we're still waiting, and we're apparently still going to be waiting. So, 2016, 2017 comes, and we get everything released on, high definition for the PlayStation 4. 3 is coming, and so 1 year early in 2016, Square Enix is just like, okay, here's the thing, we're gonna give you 3, it's not ready yet, and we're just like, okay, so we're just gonna have to wait for another year, and then we're gonna get 3, and they said, here's 2.8. 2.8, lovingly referred to as Final Chapter Prologue, is one of the handheld titles remastered for console, Dream Drop Distance, which is fun, and I do like Dream Drop Distance. But it's essentially a remastered edition of Dream Drop Distance with a small tie-in to 3 that lets you know what's happened to another character that was introduced in the series. And then they did back cover, which covers the entire prequel of how this franchise began, plus another mobile game that they expect you to get involved with. I'm going to go into that more after the break. Here's Mike to tell you what's going on with Eventide Entertainment this week. We'll talk about the lovely mobile game that Kingdom Hearts has released in a little bit. But Mike, tell him what's going on this week. We'll see you in a bit.
Are you into making music, videos, or podcasts? Are you a local comedic talent in need of some much-needed publicity? Are you a behind-the-scenes professional interested in audio-video production, graphic design, and public relations? Eventide Entertainment is actively seeking talents, clients, and professionals to help our business grow into something truly special. And we want you to be one of those. For more information, go to facebook.com/Eventide Entertainment or send us an email at eventideent@gmail.com.
Nerd Versus. Mondays at 9 a.m. on the Eventide Entertainment podcast feed.
Wednesdays on Eventide, Robert Yetter and Mike Shea sit down and throw albums at each other, talking about them, picking them apart, ripping them a new one. All different artists, all different genres, all different levels of suckage. It's Track Record, Wednesdays at 9 a.m. on the Eventide podcast feed. For more information, go to eventideent.com.
And welcome back to Saltwater Gaming. I am Ellison Smith. Okay. So, the entire Kingdom Hearts franchise revolves around this whole little battle that happened before even the main story started, called the Keyblade War. There was a lot of backstabbing and a lot of counter kind of spying and working for somebody else and betrayals and all this other kind of stuff. Wonderful, wonderful Japanese RPG drama kind of things. And so you had all these quote-unquote Keyblade wielders fighting in this war to stop the main bad guy of the whole series, called Xehanort. He pulls like a Voldemort kind of thing with Horcruxes, but he puts his Horcruxes in people. And then there's time travel involved, and then Kingdom Hearts 1 gets brought in because of some other time travel, and it's just very complicated. There's a video on YouTube involving the lore and discussing the lore that I very much recommend to anyone who is either just completely lost on the franchise or just wants to get into it and doesn't want to buy any of the collections of games, because it does get expensive. But currently we are waiting for 3. Sora is still the main character. He's grown up now. He's like 19, 20 in the games. Mickey Mouse is the king of a realm in the universe. He's also a Keyblade fighter. It's just so incredibly distressing. You had this premise that started out in 2002 that was really simple. And I can tell that Disney got a hold of it, because Square Enix would have just been like, okay, here's a mobile title, here's like a phone game that can be free to play, but it ties in a little bit, but it can mostly be fun. Here's 3, and then you're done. It's like Final Fantasy stuff. You can have some DLC, but after it's done, it's done. Disney, I feel, has stretched this thing out, and I know that Square has their fingers in it as well. It's like the dude whispering. It's like the devil whispering in your ear. No, get another mobile title. Get another mobile title. Do another spinoff. It's okay. It'll all tie in together. And they've just stretched this wonderful, wonderful franchise into a complete mess. And I know a lot of fanboys are going to be like, well, if you stuck around since the first one, it's not that complicated. Yes, it is. There's time travel, there's clones, there's freaking worlds being destroyed and decanonized, there's people's souls, or people's quote-unquote hearts, that are split in half, and one half is in another person's body, and the other half is another person. There's a shadow self, there's the shell of the person becomes another human being entirely, and it's just, this frickin' franchise started out so promising, and I love it so much, and it has just been, it's not wrecked, it's not tarnished, it's just been stretched entirely way too long, is my entire point. So, now it is 2017, we won't be getting 3 until sometime in 2018, and even then, I'm not convinced that it's coming out. I just want this game, and they say that there's going to be different arcs with it. I love this franchise. I love this series. I love the characters. I love how the story arc has progressed, besides all of the complications that have come out of it. But, dear frickin' God, please streamline it if you're going to do other arcs. This one, the big bad is going to be Xehanort, and you're going to fight him in 3, and that should be it for a little while. Just don't do another mobile game, don't do another frickin' spin-off, don't do a prequel, just do, like, here's Kingdom Hearts 4, here's Kingdom Hearts 5, here's Kingdom Hearts 6. Just be done at that point, because if you keep spinning off and recanonizing everything, I'm done. I cannot put enough time into this. Ugh. There's so many other things that I could be doing, and I'm just screaming about an action RPG that has Mickey Mouse in it. This whole franchise is a nostalgia bomb, because it's bringing in Disney characters that we grew up in. You're being able to play in their worlds, play with some of them, and it hits your childhood core with the biggest battle axe that you can get. Well, not a battle, like a battle hammer, and it just rings that inner bell, and it's just like, nostalgia, you love this, you're gonna keep buying, you can't stop, and it's just, this game is frustration to a T, story-wise. Gameplay-wise, it's fine. It's not Dark Souls, it can be difficult, but it's very much a grind RPG. If you want to succeed, you're going to grind a couple levels every stage, and you'll do fine. For those of you who have now been a little bit scared about getting into the franchise, it's very long, it's very complicated, and just watch a lore video on YouTube before you even attempt it. For those of you that have stuck around, I think you understand my sentiments. Here's hoping to 2018, man. Here's hoping that we finally get 3. It looks impressive. We get to be in a Toy Story world, which makes me happy. And they seem to have changed it up to where it's another fresh new look, which we should have gotten years ago, but here we are now. What can you do? Kingdom Hearts 3 should come out eventually in 2018. In the meantime, there's the collections. This has been a rant episode. I promise you that those will be few and far between. Next up is going to be a mystery episode. It could be a gem from the past that a lot of people forgot about. It could be another AAA title. It's not going to be another rant. It will be a mystery bag, if you will. So we'll see you next week with our mystery episode. Kingdom Hearts 3 coming eventually. Probably by the time I'm retired. Again, this has been Saltwater Gaming. My name is Ellison Smith. I hope y'all have a wonderful day, evening, night, afternoon, whenever you get to listen to this. If you get a chance, get the Spreaker app and subscribe to Eventide Entertainment. We've got a wonderful list of shows that we can provide to you coming out on a weekly basis. Got a little bit of everything, so do give that a try out. This has been Saltwater Gaming. We'll see you again next week. Bye, guys.